And welcome into Juck on Bucks on a live weekend show, the very first ever Juck on Bucks weekend show with actual football to talk about, as we had ourselves a heck of a game. We'll get into all of that. But yesterday, I was at the Menace to Sports live show down in Columbus, and it was awesome. My first time ever meeting anybody who knows me from the show, which was a wild experience, but so cool. If you were there and we talked, thank you so much for coming up and talking to me, man. What a great time that was. And we're going to be doing another live show down in Columbus the week of the Northwestern game with myself and a couple of other podcasters. That's going to be released here pretty soon by another show, but I can't wait to be involved in that. So we're going to do a full post-game show, bunch of different Ohio podcasters, and it's going to be great. But what an amazing game to start the season. Georgia Tech, that was really impressive. I was not expecting that at all. The game I didn't think was going to be much of a contest. The line had moved from Florida State minus 13 down to Florida State minus 10 by like Thursday. And my thought at that point was, I'm about to jump on Florida State. I didn't end up making a play, but it turns out Georgia Tech in the money line was the big winner. And I could not be happier with the result. But really fantastic stuff. 24-21, Georgia Tech wins. That first drive by Florida State, the offensive line looked dominant, and I thought that Georgia Tech was in for a long day. They answered immediately. Haynes King is a gamer. The guy reminds me of, I don't know, a bit like Will Howard. Gets down to the goal line, running it in. He looked really good. DJU, on the other hand, not so much. 19 for 27 for 193. Like 7 rushing yards, no touchdowns. The Georgia Tech defense held Roydell Williams to 12 for 38, just 3.2 yards per carry. Florida State with less than 100 yards rushing on the day on a Georgia Tech defense that was just terrible last year. And, they weren't supposed to be good this year. Held them to 21 points. And I don't know what that says for Florida State moving forward. Obviously, you're going across the country. It's game 1. You don't expect to be clicking on all cylinders, but Georgia Tech with 336 total yards and 190 on the ground. They straight beat them up. They beat them in every facet of the game. Now, I have not had good interactions in my college football life with Florida State fans, and I usually root against them pretty hard. I don't like Mike Norvell. I don't like the way he constructs a team. Way too many portal players. They were just bragging about it this week. They use 70% of their budget on portal players and retaining their own roster. And obviously, retaining your own roster should be priority number 1. But they're essentially saying they don't spend on guys out of high school. They just want portal players. And their portal numbers, it's not talked about a lot, but they're a lot like Dion. They're Dion light. They're Colorado light with their portal guys. And it shows. And we saw it at the end of the season last year when they had the opportunity to prove to everybody, instead of whining about it, that they belonged in that playoff. They got a matchup with Georgia. What'd they do? They had like 39 guys total either went into the portal and got the hell out of there or chose to sit out of the game. There's no loyalty to Florida State. And that's what happens when you got a team full of mercenaries. But the whining and the complaining from Florida State and that fan base all the way up through the administration about being left out of the playoff, the Kirk Herbstreit stuff, the ESPN stuff, the committee stuff, they went on the entire offseason. It never stopped. They were still on the stuff in Dublin, Ireland. That's all they care about. And to see them come out and lose game 1 to a program nowhere near them in, stratosphere, it's just beautiful. I absolutely love it. Now, here's the difference. In years past, losing game 1 most likely would have knocked them out of the playoffs in a 14 playoff unless they got help. They're in the ACC. Generally you want to run the table in the ACC. They still got a shot now. Clearly it's all still out in front of them. They can go on. And even if they just make it to the conference championship game and lose it and end the season at 11-2 with, losing the first game of the year, you generally get cut some slack for that. It's all still out there in front of them. So just kind of recalibrating how, we got to look at what a loss actually means now in today's game. But the way they played today, the way DJU looked, I'm not so certain that they were quite a bit more we thought a little higher of them than they're actually going to be. But we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Billy Tuesday says, I don't think DJ has the mental game. I mean, he balled out at Oregon State when nobody was watching, right? So, you could be onto it. Now we got some pressure, we got some eyeballs, and all of a sudden he disappears. So, what's up, everybody? Good to see you, Tyler, Steely, Matt, Dago in the house, all my pals, and we got a super chat to get to. Chocolate Chip Scooch, my guy. Norvell, the play caller, choked big time. How long is it going to be before? I mean, it might be this week when Florida State starts pointing to Ryan Day in Ohio State and saying he's got to give up play calling. Look what Day did. I bet we're going to see it pretty quick here. We're going to see it soon. That's the first thing you're going to go to when you see an offensive performance like that. But we got a lot to talk to today. We got high school action, Ohio high school Buckeye football in action, and tons of games to get to. We got a lot of our commits and a lot of our targets had some sweet games. I got some highlights to show you from a couple of guys here. Michigan lost their biggest commit. He flipped to Auburn, and that was a huge score for them. Absolute stud, and he was their number one commit. He flipped out of there. So the biggest news for us, though, today, obviously, Jayvon McFadden. Jayvon McFadden decides to commit to the Buckeyes, and I was trying to go live for it, could not find for the life of me what time he was going to announce, and then it just popped up out of nowhere on my timeline that he had chosen the Buckeyes, and we knew he was choosing the Buckeyes. But Jayvon McFadden chose us over Colorado, Maryland, and South Carolina, and on the surface, it would seem like that's not much of a decision at all. But he is very close with Jordan Seaton. They're both from Maryland. They call each other cousins. And Seaton, of course, 5-star Mr. Everything lineman who spurned Tennessee and Ohio State at the last minute last cycle when he chose Colorado. And the 2025 Ohio State Buckeyes offensive line class now includes borderline 5-star stud Carter Lowe, interior lineman from Ohio Jake Cook, who is pegged for center, and Jayvon McFadden, who is clearly an inside guy, but a lot of people are saying he's a swing man and may play tackle as well. I don't see it at all. But interestingly enough, he's already got the Buckeye bump. Check this out. So I just happened to take this screenshot for the show 2 days ago. And, oh, geez, let me get Scoochie's comment off of here so you can see this. So 2 days ago, he was his 24/7 composite, a 3-star, number 469 in the country. That was 2 days ago. Then Frye comes out and basically says in his press conference that he's got him committed. And all of a sudden today, he is a 4-star, number 407 nationally in the composite, which is awesome. I love it. Obviously, Justin Frye been a huge topic of conversation in Buckeye Nation. His defenders are saying, see, he's doing his job after the McFadden commitment. The detractors are laying out their case as to why he should be fired. I've seen it on both sides, and, we can have that discussion at some point. But I think it's important to focus on celebrating the commitment of a guy. Every time we get him, it feels disrespectful to get into that kind of stuff when we get a commitment, because honestly, I think this dude's a dog. I really do. No, he's not super highly rated, and he is, he's 6'3", 275, but he's got the attitude. And what I look for in a lineman, and I think, if you're a good offensive line coach, what you're looking for, the prerequisite size, which he has, the agility and the quick feet, which I think he has, and the attitude, because there's a whole heck of a lot of linemen who are physical specimens. And because they're big and strong, they get pushed into football by, pressured by family, friends, whatever. And they play football. And because they're big and strong, they're good at it up until they get to a certain level, because they don't love the game. They don't love the fight. And that's the first thing I want to see out of a lineman. And Jayvon McFadden has it. So Jake Cook, another guy. Jake Cook, not incredibly physically gifted. He's worked his butt off to be the best he can be, but he's an absolute warrior, and we can see it in his camp footage. He'd get challenged, he'd fight back, he'd usually win, and he did it with attitude. So McFadden, does he have what's needed? He's got the size. He's got the agility. He's got the fight. Let's take a look at him. And I've got a little clip of him from a Rivals camp for you guys to look at. But also in this footage is also Darius Gray. Darius Gray is another, he's a 2026 lineman that we're after. He was at an Ohio State camp over the summer, absolutely killed it. He actually beat Jakeem Stewart in a bunch of reps. Also in this clip, they're blocking Aiden Harris, and we talked about the Harris twins the other day. They play at Weddington High School in North Carolina. Aiden on the right, Andrew on the left. Aiden's a top 150 guy, defensive end, both of them. His brother is a top 300 guy, and we're after both of them. And they actually played Providence Day on Friday, David Sanders High School, and they beat him. But those two play with Trajan Odom, our defensive line commitment, in this cycle at Weddington High School in North Carolina. Also, we've got Jayvon McFadden and Darius Gray matched up against Xavier Haynes Griffin, who we talked about the other day, who is about to commit potentially to Ohio State, and he's another 2026 defensive end. So let's take a look, and when you look at McFadden here, just look at the attitude he plays with.
Wayne in the movement a second. Yeah, you're a second. Right here. No. Yeah.
Take a look at this footwork in this drill.
Pose. Pose. Good. Pose. Here you go. Pose. 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 Good.
Now, you saw him in there. Nope with the big dog. I like it. He's nasty. Take a listen to this quote. Well, you see it at the bottom of the line. He said, I see what Jeremiah Smith is doing at Ohio State as a freshman. I want to do that on the offensive line. Guy's got a great attitude. He's a dog. I love it. And if you are, if you believe that we have an offensive line coach who can develop well, this is the type of guy you're going to be really excited about. And I am excited about it. My feelings about Frye have nothing to do with it. If Frye is a good developer, as a lot of people think he is, and I think that he is starting to gain a bit of a track record that's showing us a bit of that, I'm excited for him to have this guy because he wanted this guy. So here's your dude. You went out, you landed him. Do what you do. I love the dude's attitude, and I'm very excited about it. Obviously, if you could have 5 dudes like that with that kind of attitude, that kind of size, that kind of footwork, you're going to have a heck of an offensive line if you got an offensive line coach who can develop. And it's awesome. I love it. Very happy, anxious to see what you guys think about Jayvon McFadden, and we will talk about him some more. But first, I want to show you a couple clips from Friday night. Check out linebacker TJ Alford from Vero Beach, our dog, Juck on Bucks pal.
Twin receivers on the right side, single to the left, one back in the backfield. He's going to get the handoff, and he's gobbled right up. TJ Alford, he takes the ball away, and he's going the other direction. Alford will not be caught, and he's going to score for Vero Beach.
Wow. Big guy, big play time makes big plays. That's what you look for your star, your stud players. Alford is a Ohio State.
Yes, he sure is, and he's going to stay on Ohio State. I also got a clip of Ryder Lyons. Ryder Lyons a 2026 quarterback, the number 2 or 3 ranked quarterback in 24/7. We offered 12 quarterbacks in the 2026 cycle. We did not offer Ryder Lyons, who was my favorite quarterback in the class. I don't know why. Hadn't heard why, but Chip Kelly went out, actually saw him in person. So there must be something I'm missing. But take a look at Ryder Lyons.
Lyons surveys, escapes the pressure. Now he stops. And on the sideline on the far side, somehow he's still alive. Ryder Lyons still on his feet. Lyons still on his feet. Head to the end zone.
The dude's nasty. He's absolutely nasty. I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm missing about him. Sure would have loved to get him in the fold, and it looks like he's probably going to end up at USC. But, you know, I don't know where we're going to go with quarterback in 26. I'm not too concerned about it at all, but sure would have liked to have him on board. But here's the quarterback I really want to talk about. BP Miller, man. Listen, we know BP Miller was offered by Boston College as a quarterback. I just got a feeling that after getting the Ohio State offer at wide receiver from Heartline, it's going to draw some more attention, and they're going to start looking at him, other places I'm talking, and looking at the possibility of him as a college quarterback in a little more serious way. Take a look at this first play of BP Miller. I'm telling you, Dago, take a look. Dude, that speed is ridiculous. Insane.
Miller to his left side breaks a couple tackles.
I'm going to turn this down so you guys can hear me. I mean, this guy is absolutely elite. And you know how conceited coaches are. They think they can turn anybody into anything. When you got that kind of skill, I just see some hot shot quarterback coaches on some staffs at some bigger time programs looking at him going, wait a minute, man. You're telling me I can't make this guy the next Lamar? Like, people were saying that about him. Like, he reminds them of Lamar Jackson. And I wasn't really buying into that, but he actually really does quite a bit. Now, obviously, those mechanics need work, but he's certainly got some touch. I don't know. I saw the film. Number one, I got excited at what a ridiculous athlete he is. I mean, I already was. The speed's insane. And there's another play he makes in here that's even shows it off more than that first one. But then I started getting nervous. Like, wait a minute. Are they going to start? I think he wants to play wide receiver for Heartline for Ohio State. But, you know, you can be talked out of that if a more prominent school starts coming in and be like, no, you're a quarterback. Let us make you a quarterback. I'm trying to wait for this one play before we cut this. There is one play in here that's just crazy. Man. I think this is it. Not it. Oh, hits his guy in the hands here and he drops it. This might be the one. Okay, this is the one. Look at this. Look at this. And a completion. Get out of here, man. This dude's sick. He's wild. He is a wild football player. What a steal. What an absolute steal. And I said it at the time. Brian Hartline, Ryan Day were absolutely giggling when that guy came onto campus, started showing out at camp. because what they did was just pulled one over on the entire rest of the country, because that dude is an unbelievably elite athlete, and they got him for nothing. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, like, you know, they didn't have to fight. Like, he just stumbled onto camp into their lap. And that's a big time, like, giggle moment. You know, we heard about Hartline just pulled him off the field after one of the crazy catches and offered him right there. Just wild. But Jacob Weatherspoon, one of James Laurinaitis' linebacker offers from St. Xavier, had a ridiculous game as well. A ton of tackles, and he is lightning. I mean, absolute grease lightning. As is Storm Miller, another linebacker offer in the class of 26. Really played a fantastic game against Avon and Max Riley. Max Riley, I saw him a little bit. Wasn't really matched up against any competition that could really show anything, but he did well for who he was against. Also got sent a clip of Adam Guthrie totally folding somebody, which looks pretty fun. You can see him at the top of the screen there. I'll play it again. Guthrie 6'7", 295 now, and I think that he's going to be getting that offer soon. Tavian St. Clair absolutely ripped it up, and at this point, it's like, you know, yeah, of course he did. Eli Lee, Rock Hill, and Sam Greer in Hoban welcomed in the two-time defending Maryland State champs, Archbishop Sperling or something like that, Sparling, and they came in and won, and a heartbreaker for our boys up here in Akron. I was really upset by that, but anyway, yeah, an amazing night of high school football, and I will always talk about high school football. I love Ohio high school football, so I'll keep you guys updated on all of our prospects every week. Also, a really slick video I want to show you. This is Caleb Downs getting Beats headphones for the team, but I want you to look at the energy around the team at the end of this clip.
Yo, I seriously appreciate y'all for letting me come into the brotherhood this year. Like, from the bottom of my heart, it means everything. Hey, we got a job to do, though. Yeah. We got a job to do. God bless me with a chance to gift y'all with a pair of Beats this coming season. We had a good camp, had a good spring, had a good summer. Let's go do what we're supposed to do.
That's a team right there. That's a team right there. That's a close team, man, and we know how hungry they are. That stuff gives me chills, man. Those guys are together. They're hungry. And man, is Caleb Downs impressive in everything he does. Just listening to him talk, they respect him. He's so smart. He's so smooth. Everything about that guy is just next level. He sounds like a 5-year NFL vet when he talks to the guys. Just ridiculous. What a stroke of luck. And to have that guy for 2 years, just unbelievable. It really is. In some other college football news, the NCAA Rules or Oversight Committee is discussing getting rid of the spring portal window. Last year, there's 2 spring portal windows. Last year, 3,800 total players entered the portal. Of that 3,800, 1,200 did so in the spring. And this is something that the coaches have absolutely been railing against, that they cannot properly run a roster with 2 periods of essentially free agency during the season. And it's got, I mean, there are some things that are good about it. Like, one thing that's good about that spring portal is you look at a guy, and we can kind of say, like, let's look at Dallin Hayden. So Dallin Hayden, after the season ended, he didn't enter the portal. And he stuck it out through spring. And, you know, somebody can stick it out through spring and maybe things change and they change their mind. Things change with the coaching staff or in the position battle they're in. And because of that, they decide to stick it out, or they can decide to leave in the spring. Another benefit would be a coach resigns, and obviously all those players are now immediately allowed to leave. New coaching staff comes in, and the original portal is now closed. The spring window opens up, and they got to replace a bunch of guys, because you're always going to have now a bunch of people leaving after their coaching staff leaves. So that's another area where it's kind of advantageous, almost necessary, for that first year staff to be able to compete. And the people who are arguing against this are basically saying this is not good for the players. It's not fair to them. The NIL advantages of entering the portal in the spring are huge. Teams are usually pretty desperate, and you can leverage that to get a lot of money. I don't think that argument's really going to sway anybody. The rules of college football have been kind of flipped on their head so that they favor players much more than they ever did before. So it'll be interesting to see where this goes. There's definitely a lot of legal things that are going to be involved here. I'm not sure, but the oversight committee seems to really want it to happen to get rid of it. The commissioners of the SEC and the Big Ten, and probably the rest of the other conferences, want it to happen as well. They want one transfer portal window, not two. And I mean, who could blame them? It's definitely tough to operate the roster with both of them. But in other news, ESPN woke up Thursday morning, and decided that they were going to go all in on Ryan Day getting fired on like 3 consecutive shows of theirs. Let's listen to this first goofball. I don't even know his name.
Successfully is now an assistant, like a consultant type with the Cleveland Browns, is hovering. I know a lot of people that root for the Ohio State Buckeyes, as you very likely do as well. And they have grown a little bit disenchanted with Ryan Day, in large part because he lost 3 consecutive games to the Michigan Wolverines, and Mike Vrabel is hovering. I have no idea, none, if Mike Vrabel wants to coach college football, but Ohio State has no excuse to lose more than 1 regular season game this year, and no excuse not to make it to at least the Final Four in the playoff. The question is not, is Ryan Day a good coach? Ryan Day isn't a good coach. He's a great one. The question is Ryan Day the best coach for that job, given the enormous amount of resources that they provide him? If he loses a couple games this year, a couple games he should not lose, those screams coming from Columbus, Ohio are going to get louder and louder and louder, and I think Mike Vrabel will be the number 1 person on that list to backfill that head coaching job.
The screams coming from Columbus, Ohio. And that pops into this McAfee clip, and one of McAfee's guys, I don't know what the guys are named. My son listens to this show all the time. It's in the background. I cannot stand just the sound of the show in general. McAfee's a funny guy. I get it. I get it. The shtick for me is like, it's grown old. I can't even stand listening to it.
Because you never know what. Do you feel bad for Ryan Day? Because if he loses a game, they're going to burn his house down and kick him out of Columbus, Ohio?
They're going to burn his house down and kick him out of Columbus, Ohio. And then, of course, you got the moron of all morons.
The people in Ohio State just pushed all of their chips to the center of the table. They went and spent about $13 million on free agents, well, college football's version of free agency, with the portal and NIL. Not only that, but some fans would say, well, if we got rid of Ryan Day, who would we hire? They went out and hired Chip Kelly as the offensive coordinator. So if things go awry, I think they have somebody who's behind Chip Kelly. I mean, behind Ryan Day, Chip Kelly, who they will say, Chip Kelly can be the next coach too. So I think that Ryan Day, he's on the hot seat right now.
This idiot can't even talk. Listen, Ryan Day has been the head coach for 5 years. That's a college football analyst calling him Brian Day 3 times in a row. He is the dumbest. I can't even stand that guy, man. I don't know how he's still employed. But honestly, it's ESPN, so I get it. I don't watch any of these shows. I just saw these clips on social media. But every time I hear that guy talk, it's something stupid is coming out of his mouth. It is never a coherent, intelligent point ever about anything. I just don't get it. Troy says that guy is the poster boy for a Michigan degree. And the fact that he is from Ohio It has always bothered me, really. It always has. But they went on game day today. They all made their picks, and I got a picture. Let's take a look at their picks. On the set of College Game Day, you've got 2 Oregons, 2 Georgias, and some fella named Seamus picks Notre Dame. I don't know who that guy is. I guess he's the celebrity guest picker. College Game Day, another show that I refuse to watch anymore. Thankfully, YouTube has provided me with options that I don't ever have to watch ESPN again outside of a game. So we got a couple of Oregons, and that's starting to gain traction. Notice nobody picked Ohio State, the best team in the country. And that's because the best team in the country doesn't always win, which I was trying to explain to an Oregon guy who called me out yesterday and said, you said on the show that 2 times in your life you thought Ohio State was going to win the national championship entering into the season, and neither time they won. Do you think maybe your outsized confidence is going to turn out into the same result this season? But I would submit that in both cases, I was actually right. We did have the best team, and that's why I was confident in both 1998 and 2015. And if we had this current playoff system back then, I think more likely than not, both of those teams do win the national championship. Fortunately for us this year, we have a system that allows for a slip up, a hiccup game, and I felt like, I think that really for me, and I was asked this the other day, the Oregon coming into the Big Ten story has now become the biggest storyline of this season for me. You got so much that goes along with it. Dan Lanning, the way the program is getting so much attention from everybody. You got the people that are hyping them up huge. You got the people that have this backlash. Like, hold on, these guys haven't done anything. And you got these 2 sides really going at it hard about Oregon because they are in the media so much. Then you add to that the ridiculous success on the recruiting trail, the fact that so many people resent the thought that there's so much money behind their recruiting success and that nobody can compete with an open checkbook from Nike. And I will be on Monday with my buddy Max Torres for Oregon's On 3 Scoop Duck on Monday. I don't know what time we're going to do that yet. I'll let you guys know on Monday morning, but I'm sure we're going to have a really good conversation about the Buckeyes and the Ducks. Me and Max always have a good time. So that'll be a good one. But to me, it's the most interesting conversation to have and the most interesting storyline heading in to this season. And you can only imagine, what if Oregon comes in, wins the Big Ten in year 1, advances far in the playoff? What if they win the national championship? Like, that's a serious issue. You know what I mean? So it's a big story. The Buckeyes can't let it happen. I don't think they will. In fact, I thought that Eugene game was going to be the biggest test of the season for the Buckeyes. And it was a coin flip game. That's what I thought heading into fall camp. But I had some questions heading into fall camp. Quarterback, offensive line, linebacker. The questions at linebacker for me have been 100% answered. I have no concerns about that linebacker room at all. I'm now way more excited about Will Howard as the starting quarterback than I was heading into fall. And the offensive line, I feel great about. So now, honestly, if I had to pick today that game out in Eugene, I'm very confident that the Buckeyes are going to go out and win that game. I wasn't before. I was somewhat nervous about it. I'm not anymore. I'm really not at all. And I get the feeling that there's a whole lot of Buckeye fans who are getting more and more confident about that game as we move forward. And so are the Duck fans. They're really confident about it as well. And that's what always makes for a great one. It is becoming a new little rivalry here. We're seeing more and more of it. I absolutely love it. I think it's great for the Big Ten. I think it's great for us as Buckeye fans. But Michigan losing Nate Marshall, their number 1 commit, pretty interesting stuff. And they lose him to Hugh Freeze in Auburn. And Auburn is a school that really prides themselves in flipping guys. Their whole Big Cat weekend Hugh Freeze was talking about how many guys he was going to flip, even calling them out by name. And they got it done, man. They've got a bunch of flips. They flipped Nate Marshall off of Michigan. And when we look at the recruiting rankings, we've got some movement in the recruiting rankings. And that's not it. That's not it. That's it. Buckeyes still sit at number 1, Bama 2, LSU 3, Georgia 4, but Georgia's got some big dogs on the line to pop up. Auburn's at 5. Tennessee has now gotten a couple more commits since David Sanders, and they've moved up to 6. You see Notre Dame has dropped down to number 9. They were sitting pretty and just continually to get dropped down. But at number 11 sits Oregon. You can't see because of what's running there at the bottom of the screen. And I'll talk to Max on Monday and see what's going on with that, if they got anybody on the hook. I haven't been keeping up with what they got going on, but interesting stuff happening at Auburn. And I don't know where the money comes from at Auburn, but they've clearly got a lot of money going on for sure right now. So let me head to the chat, see what you guys are up to. Obviously, a lot of positive comments about Desmond, my guy, Buckeye 2024. He is a total clown, man. Dago says Desmond is reading fundamentally challenged, and he's such a joke. I just don't understand how they continue to get him on there. Cuta says we need to get a players union and some legal rules that make sense. It is certainly interesting. It is definitely interesting that we hear all the time about. So what they said might happen here is if they pass that rule, this is what some legal analysts said. If they pass that rule, get rid of the spring portal. The very first guy who legally challenges in the spring that he wants to transfer is going to blow the whole thing up. They're going to have to rescind the thing, which I don't understand how he's so confident about that. Like, if that was the case, then wouldn't that just apply to any time throughout the year? If someone challenged it, like that would blow it up. Like, why specifically spring? If you got rid of the spring window, then it wouldn't make that time any different than any other. So I'm not quite sure. Chocolate Chip Scoochie says, constant reminder why I watch Juck on Bucks and never ESPN. And this is my thought, like, not Juck on Bucks, but ever since I found shows on YouTube, like I honestly, this was just maybe like a year ago for me that I started watching shows on YouTube, like football shows. Like, hold on, like, are you telling me that I've got all these options? I was just listening to podcasts, but now it's no, I never watch Game Day. I haven't watched ESPN in forever outside of games. We have so many much better personalities in every single market. Whatever you want, you can go find it with someone with expertise, much more than, like, if I want to hear about Georgia football, I can go find someone talking about Georgia. If I want to hear about Oregon, I can go listen to Max Torres. I don't need to listen to Desmond Howard and his pick of Oregon and his analysis on the Ducks. Colton Weaver says, can't wait for the Michigan scandal sanctions to hit and ESPN not to cover it at all. ESPN is a joke and will be out of business in 10 years. You know, I don't follow the business end of that stuff much, but I have heard that they're not doing so hot. I've only got so much bandwidth up here, and that kind of the business end, I know a lot of people are into that. I can't get with it. But as far as that scandal, I don't know. I don't know if they've been running interference for that or not. I know a lot of people think so. I'll take their word for it. Daryl says, ESC. Oh, so check this out. ESCCPN, not surprised. I did notice that Paul Feinbaum, we talked about all those shots he was taking. Who'd he go after? Lincoln Riley, Ryan Day, went after somebody else, like all in a week. None of them were SEC coaches. It is interesting, isn't it? Not a single one. Richie Dubs, what's up, brother? Good to see you, buddy. My buddy Daryl. So Mika brings up an interesting point here. No rivalry without respect. Can't do it anymore. Hate cheaters. And I've talked to quite a few of you that have the same feeling about this, that what they've done has soured the entire rivalry for you. You just, you can't get behind it anymore. It's lost its feeling of mutual respect. And I don't know, whatever way you felt about it before, you've lost it over all this and over the way their fans have reacted to all this. And I totally understand where you're coming from, and I feel the same way, but it does just make me want to beat them even more than ever before. But I don't have the same feeling myself that I used to. I definitely don't. It just feels different. And I don't know if I can really put it into words, but it feels different to me. It's not the same. And I feel like they kind of stole something from me by the way that, not just the cheating scandal, but the way that they've acted and talked about it since then. Not owning it and basically calling everybody who thinks that it had anything to do with anything an idiot. You know, like, you cheated. You know what I mean? You just did. You don't get to, it's first off, it's unquantifiable. We can all agree on that. You can't say how much it helped. You can't say how much it hurt and you can't put a number on it. You just can't. So it's everybody's opinion from there as to how much it helped. Either way, you cheated. And I can't stand that the way they've acted about it. So I feel like they kind of took something from us all and themselves as well. Anthony, what's up? How you doing, brother? Good to see you. Mika says, do we flip Dorian Brew or Justin Hill? So my opinion is a hard no on both of them. I know a lot of people are holding out hope for Dorian. I think it was made pretty clear by some folks close to the situation after the Dorian decision that he just wasn't interested in being number 3. And obviously we weren't going to pay him anywhere near what they're going to pay him. He's their number 1, our number 3. It just doesn't make sense. But no, I really don't think so at all for Dorian. I know some people are holding out hope. As far as Justin Hill, I don't think so there at all. And especially since we heard Knowles say that, if anything, instead of the jack, he's leaning towards going the other direction and putting 5 down linemen. So it brings up an interesting question. Like, if they got the commitment of Justin Hill, now because we've heard Knowles say he doesn't want to play the jack. If anything, he's going to go the other way. Would he have realistically played this differently if they had gotten the commitment from Justin Hill? Would he have played the jack even though he doesn't want to, just to get him, keep him in the class if he had committed? Or were they just going to roll the dice and still not play the jack, knowing that he was going to flip out? And if that's the case, why you waste so much time recruiting the guy if you're not going to play the position and show him like you said you were going to? It's all very odd. At any rate, I think that the entire position thing was more of a crutch for him. I think he wanted to go to Alabama, and in talking about the position, what do they call theirs? The wolf. Talking about the wolf position at Alabama and their defense versus the jack position was more of a convenient excuse, because I think that him and the family, they thought Bama was cool. The stepdad's from Bama, and that's where he wanted to go. So no, I don't really think either of them are in play. And to be honest, we're not good at flipping guys. We're just not. So until I see some good evidence of us flipping somebody, I'm not going to get my hopes up for it. Our buddy Sean says, it's hard to respect a team and a program that has no class, morals, or integrity, just like their fan base. You know, as a whole, the loud portion of their fan base has definitely been tough to deal with, and certainly not made me feel any better about the fact that we're involved in a rivalry with people like that. To be honest, I don't. And here's the thing, because we always get lumped in with them. You know what I mean? And I don't like that. I appreciate the rivalry with Penn State. I wish we were still playing Penn State every year, Wish we would have protected that one. I feel like it's ridiculous that we didn't. Chocolate Chip Scooch says them picking Oregon is just a slight at OSU. Somebody said in their tweet when they were tweeting that picture that I think Kirk picked Ohio State or he said Ohio State was the best team in the Big Ten, still picked Oregon. But, like I said, I know what he means. Like, the best team doesn't always win. It's just the truth. Sean kind of feeling what I'm feeling about Justin Hill, that he won't come to OSU. And my buddy Danny Div says Oregon is getting humbled this year. And now Dan is one of the guys on the opposite end of this argument with Oregon. You got the folks pumping Oregon up really high. Dan is at the total other end. Like, listen, these guys have shown their rear end. They have gotten humbled by Washington over and over again. Why are you now pumping them up so much? He just doesn't get it at all, and is pushed back hard against it. So, we've got those two ends. Somebody's going to be right, I think. I think they're going to lose a couple of games and not look great doing it, or they're going to absolutely be awesome. I don't know which one it is yet. Either way, they're not going to be as good as us. Mika says, so excited for this season. More games means young players need to play more. Hopefully we get a lot of blowouts and leads to a national championship in 2024, and that's only the beginning. Let's build a dynasty. This organization is set up for sustained success. They're not set up for a one and done. They're not, if you look out the next 4 years, the 25 year would be the youngest year for sure. But the way it's set up from the top down really is set up for sustained success. And once they kick in the door, once Ryan Day kicks in the door, I feel like they're absolutely set up for a dynastic run. Daryl says the Buckeyes only need players that want to be a Buckeye. The rest can have a nice day. It's true. We are never at a loss for really good players who want to be Buckeyes. Dago's in Vegas. Am I getting that right? Our guys in Vegas? We need some pictures to throw up on the Juck on Bucks, buddy. Here we go. Scooch says Oregon got humbled last year. They got smoked by Washington like crazy. They lost twice by 3 points each time. I don't know if we can call that getting smoked. They were pretty close games. Lanning was a little overly aggressive. Here's a good one from our guy, Sean. Anyway, we get Phillip Bell or Jerome Miles. Did you guys see that Jerome Miles and his team beat IMG? That's something. They beat him. Not only did they beat him, but Jerome Miles absolutely crushed him. He was amazing. This is interesting. So Phillip Bell makes his decision next weekend. We'll go live for that one, guys. We missed out on Jayvon McFadden. We will definitely be live for Phillip Bell. I'm very interested in this. Now, the first thing is Phillip Bell has been, I've underappreciated him. He's a little lower rated, top 200-ish guy. But I watched his film from the first game this year. Phillip Bell's a dog. He really is. He's a dog. I like his style. A lot of people are now saying that they think he's going to be a Buckeye. They think that he's leaning Buckeye. And I'd be very happy to have him. They're also saying that Jerome Miles, who has set his decision date, is probably got Utah leading the pack here. His high school quarterback is going to Utah. I just find it hard to believe that Brian Hartline can't beat Utah for this guy. And he is a special, special player. But you got this weird situation where you're kind of rolling the dice, right? I don't think they want to take 5. I think they want to take 4. Phillip Bell announces next weekend. Miles isn't for a month afterwards. If Phillip Bell gets in the class, does that squash the hopes at Miles? Like, obviously, they'll still take him, but how hard are they really going to pursue him at that point? He is going to come in and make an official. I want him bad. Like, I mean, to me, this is not much of a decision. He is substantially different. Like, he is different than Phillip Bell. Phillip Bell, really good. But Miles is something else. Absolutely something else. Huge, first off, 6'3", 205, but plays like a much smaller guy, like a fast kind of game. Doesn't play a bully ball type of game like Quincy Porter, another big dude who is doesn't have the kind of wheels that Jerome Miles has. Scooch says, I do not blame Kirk Herbstreit anymore. I'm so done with his nonsense rear end. Oh, I do not claim Kirk Herbstreit. No, Kirk Herbstreit definitely turned his back on the Ohio State fan base long ago, in my opinion. He goes out of his way to make sure he doesn't look biased against Ohio State so much that he actually becomes kind of anti-Ohio State in a lot of ways. That's the way I view it. Dago is at the Bellagio. I've never been to Las Vegas. I've never been to Las Vegas once in my life. I don't know that I would enjoy it, but I'd give it a shot sometime. Mika says, the cheaters up north should forfeit wins, including their fake championship. And it is a fake championship. What I like is that a whole lot of people are now saying that outside of the Ohio State and Michigan State fan base. I'm seeing it more and more. So that's fun. Obviously, the Ohio State and the Michigan State fan base have been saying that all along. We're seeing it in some other places, which is fun. Daryl, my guy. Thank you, buddy. Oh, this is what I love here. So Andrew says the Michigan man, in quotation marks, is officially dead, and Jim Harbaugh killed him. And that is one of the best things we can take out of this. They have stuck their nose in the air for all of our lives as fans that they are so much superior to everybody else. They have this higher set of morals, and they have shown that not only do they not have that, they are they're pretty scummy about it, and they've flaunted it. They don't care about any of this. They cashed in, they got what they wanted, and now they're laughing about it. So that killed the Michigan man. Bo Schembechler would slap the smirk off these guys' faces if he was around. And really, they've totally killed the Michigan man. He's dead. Do you see TSC had 6 touchdowns in his game and said he's talking to Micah DeBose a lot? And we've heard a lot of Micah DeBose smoke in the last week and a half. I'm just not seeing it, man. To get Micah DeBose, you got to flip him from the hottest recruiting class in the country with Alabama. And they got one heck of an offensive line coach, one heck of an offensive line tradition. I just don't see it. But we don't know what kind of money they're going after him with. Obviously, there are some freed up funds. And he does like Ohio State. I think we were second. I just think he likes Alabama quite a bit more. But hey, it would be awesome. He's not, he's much higher on the board than Jayvon McFadden was on the Buckeyes board. So it would be a great win. And if you could end the class with Carter Lowe, Micah DeBose, Jake Cook, and Jayvon McFadden, be a pretty darn good class. Pretty darn good. So they should go guns blazing after him if they think they got an opportunity to get him. All right. Mika Hanna is an expert in Ohio recruiting. Jamil Atkins, he is from Southwest Ohio. He is a 6'8" behemoth of a tackle, committed to Kentucky, but a project. Ralph Green, Tucker Caddis, Nolan Davenport is out of Massillon, and he's now committed to Wisconsin. When he and Jake Cook went to a camp and got a close look, the very next day he committed to Wisconsin. So it had a little piss and vinegar behind it. He was very irritated. I don't know if that's salvageable. And Jaden Clark deserves second looks in 2025, in Mika's opinion. And Mika, I think next year, I think we're going to do not too long from now, a 2026 Ohio prospect preview, because I think we're going to take a whole lot more Ohio prospects. And I think that I'm going to invite Mika on the show to talk to us. I know you guys see Mika in everybody's chat talking about all the Ohio prospects. I think that I'm going to have her on and let her talk to us about the 2026 prospects, and I think we'll have a really good conversation because we got some awesome prospects in 2026. One of my favorites is Sincere Johnson, who I talked to last week. He still doesn't have his Buckeye offer. This guy's awesome, an excellent player. We talk about Arvell Reese coming out of Glenville, Sincere Johnson, another absolute beast out of Glenville. And what just a yes, sir, no, sir type of dude, but a dog on the field. Absolutely love him. Colton Weaver. Good afternoon, Colton. Colton says, honestly, besides the SEC, Ohio State is the only team in the country that moves numbers for networks. That's why everyone craps on them all the time. Here goes. Mika says, I want Maxwell Riley, Sam Greer, Adam Guthrie, Will Conroy, Champ Smith, Emmanuel Ahianacho, I think I got it, and Darius Parks. So he's out of West Virginia. Parks is out of West Virginia. Where is Iheanacho out of? He's like the number one tackle in the country. Maxwell Riley's out of Avon. Sam Greer's out of Hoban. Adam Guthrie is out of Miami Trace. Will Conroy's out of St. Ignatius. Champ Smith is out of Vero Beach. That is our guy, TJ Alfred's high school. And it's looking pretty good with Champ Smith. He's a really highly rated prospect. Will Conroy's out. You can strike him off the board. That's absolutely not happening. Absolutely not. So we can pull him out of the board. Sam Greer, that's going to come down to Ohio State, Michigan battle. Adam Guthrie, of course, we know needs his offer still, 6'7", 295, getting better and better. And I think he's going to get his offer soon. And when he does, I think he wants to be a Buckeye. That's my opinion from talking to him. He wants to be a Buckeye. Max Riley, things look pretty good. And Darian Parks, I think that's a slam dunk too. I think he loves Ohio State. Iheanacho, he really likes Ohio State, but that's going to be one heck of a battle. Chris Sauer says, I hope the Big Ten teams take offense to how Oregon thinks they're just going to run through it. I absolutely think they will. I mean, you look at a team like Fick in Wisconsin, they go in there to play Wisconsin. And you know that there is no way that him and his boys are taking this lightly, including all the other Big Ten teams. But I think that Wisconsin game is going to be one of their tougher games this year. Dago says, that's wild naming yourself. Are you talking about that team out west? Is that what we're referring to or something else? Oh, yeah, there it is. That team out west, yeah. Dago and I have had a good laugh about that one. That is just ridiculous, man. You cannot self-gloss yourself. That is the corniest thing ever. Dennis says, they want us to say that. Best thing is to ignore them. They think they own the Big Ten already, and they are coming in cocky. The good thing is, at least from my perspective, the ones that we have on this show actually talk like about football, and they're not really cocky. They're realistic. Lisa Sims. Hey, Lisa. Lisa says Day is still a young coach and figuring things out, and he is practically doing on-the-job training, but I believe he will eventually win the ultimate prize. He's come so close a few years ago. I think that he's got it now. I think we've gone through the worst part of Day, which is him learning on the job. And it's not a position that I really want to be in again with a new coach. Happy that we've got it past us now. And I think he's ready. I think he's got it. I think he's learned the lessons. And now that he has given up the play calling, he has those late game errors are going to be a thing of the past. Hopefully he doesn't have to worry about the play call and everything. Like he's got it. The clock management stuff. It's all good. Bucks Forever 65 says, I'm a big Coach Dave fan. He's not only a great coach, he's a great human. Runs a clean program, stellar structure. He'd be very hard to replace. You're absolutely right. The culture at this Ohio State program under Ryan Day's Buckeyes is the best we've ever had, in my opinion. You can be proud of every one of these guys. You don't need to worry about anything. And you look at a guy like, the Cody Simons, the Emekas, the Jack Sawyers. There's just so many. You could go on and on with just the great young men that represent this program. But you also got dogs, you know, they're not like soft young men. They're good dudes, but they're dogs. Dago says, we are about to be the best recruiting school for years to come. This just set a new standard for the Ohio State. Our coaching staff is top notch. When you look at guy, you know, you look at a guy like Laurinaitis coming in his first cycle in limited capacity. Like he came in late to this cycle. What's he do? He goes and gets his top 2 prospects, 1 and 2 on his board. You look at Walt, what did he do? He went and got 1 and 2 on his board. Hartline obviously did in this cycle, but that's due to circumstances that, you know, you just, you're not going to be able to afford to load up at wide receiver every single year. Those guys cost a lot of money. But Keenan Bailey, what did he do? He went and got Nate Roberts, number 1 on his board. You got a whole lot of guys going and pulling their number 1 target. And I want our coaches to have, I don't care what the rankings are. I want them to have their number 1 guy. If that's the guy you want and you go get that guy, you absolutely won. So, yeah, it's quite an elite staff, man. Obviously, you got the number 1 quarterback, which Ryan Day did a fantastic job scouting him out early and getting on him before everybody else did. Dennis says, bingo, Juck. Hey, Dennis. Good to see you, buddy. Trent says, Herbie is statistically one of the OSU's worst quarterbacks. Yeah, I really liked him. So I think like some of my earliest memories are him as the quarterback. And I always kind of had an affinity for him because of that. Chris says, Kirk is the best college football analyst, hands down. And Lisa thinks that he comes off as really fake. So a lot of mixed opinions on Herbie. I can't wait to do the post-game show, guys, when we actually got some Buckeyes to talk about in here. This chat's going to be off the hook. What's up, Matt? Good to see you, brother. Avon beat Strongsville in Brown Stadium. Did they play in Brown Stadium? Or is that a different Avon? I know you guys got like 4 up there. You got Avon Lake, Avon. What? BC with a 1999 super chat. That is incredibly generous. I really thank you so much, man. It's really nice of you. If you got anything you'd like to add or talk about, feel free, my guy. But thank you so much. The new day era in college football is about to begin. Absolutely. I really am excited because I think that Ryan Day, for all the crap that he has taken around the country, we look at how hungry this team is. Like, it is very rare that you have the best roster and the most hungry team. Like, these dudes are pissed off. He's pissed off. That's a rare combination. And there's a whole lot of people that are going to realize, oh, this guy actually is an elite coach. And there's a whole lot that are going to totally dismiss it and say, it's just because he bought the roster. You know what I mean? True Frank says, as much as I hate them like the bums up north, did the Pac-12 winner last year who beat Oregon twice were way too physical for them. So, True, you're saying that Washington was way too physical for Oregon? Or we are way too physical for them? We are way too physical for them. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. That they have got some they got a good offensive line. They got a couple of really good offensive tackles. And they've added some big physical bodies in the middle of the defensive line. They added Derek Harmon in the middle of that defensive line from Michigan State. He played pretty good against us last year up at Michigan State. big dude. They've got some new guys that are big and physical as well. BC thinks Herbie's a TV personality and not an analyst. Richie Dub says Herbie's our guy, man. People are tripping. Whole lot of opinions on the Herb Street. Matt K says, would you prefer if Chip was in the booth? Now, my take on this is I would prefer Chip to do whatever the hell Chip wants. I think that Chip is Chip knows exactly what he wants. And before the tablets on the sideline, I would have said, Chip, you're crazy. You need to see that. But now with the tablets, he can see it all if he wants to. He wants to go look at stuff, whatever. He's got them right there. It's obviously not as good, but I do think that if he thinks he's going to do better that way, I just feel like it's silly of me to really say you're making the wrong choice. That's Chip Kelly. I mean, I really have a lot of reverence for that guy. Like I hold him in very high esteem when it comes to offensive play calling. Richie Dubs, thoughts on Colorado State's new white uniform. Richie, buddy, did they get one over on me? I've not seen this. You got to be kidding me. Let me check this puppy out. I do like their green and gold. If I could type faster, this would be much quicker. I should have had this picture loaded up. Oh, yeah. I'm with it. Yep, that's a winner. I'll put that up on the next show. That is a winner. I like it. I don't love the horns. Yeah, you know what I do? I dig it because it actually looks like real horns. I'm with it. And this is when it started, Dago. Dago says Quinshawn was pissed off. He was at Ole Miss, and as soon as Scum won, he said, I'm coming. It was 3 minutes. The confetti was still falling in Dallas. And Quinshawn announced that he was coming to Ohio State. And it was something to cheer us up in that moment, which was not a very happy one. Absolute legend. Absolute legend. Okay. Frank's clarified here. He's saying the Big Ten is just overall way more physical than the Pac-12, and USC, Oregon, and Washington will all get adequately welcomed. I think that's proper. Yeah, I think that's right. I think it's absolutely right. Troy remembers Jim Carsados and Tom Tupa as the first Ohio State quarterbacks. Dago hadn't seen those jerseys either. I'm going to put those on the show. Next show. So, all right, guys, I really appreciate you joining me this evening for a quick post-game weekend show, and I had a fantastic time with you. I will now be joining the missus for some dinner, and we will catch up on Monday morning. Monday, I think afternoon or evening, I'm going to be live on Scoop Duck with Max Torres, talking some Buckeyes and some Ducks, and that should be a lot of fun. If you guys don't follow Max Torres for your Duck news, definitely check him out. Max Torres is he's the best, the absolute best, total star out on the Oregon scene, and he also covers high school recruiting at where he's at a lot is he's at Modern Day, and I don't know if you guys saw his video with how am I forgetting this guy's name? Jordan Davison. Jordan Davison running down, he ripped off like a 40-yard touchdown, and he just looked so bad. He ripped off the touchdown, but he looked so much slower, chubbier. Like, he's not back in shape yet. Obviously, Oregon will get him in shape, but they're talking a whole lot of crap at Oregon about this guy, that he's going to be so fantastic. I just don't see it, man. Jeff Fullercamp, OHIO, with the $10 super chat. Thank you so much, buddy. I really appreciate you. Season of Dreams starts in 1 week. Keep up the awesome work, Chuck. Thank you, bro. That's awesome of you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I will tell Nina hello. Thank you all so much. Troy, thank you. Andrew, all my friends. Richie, I'll see you later. Thanks, guys. Have a great Saturday. Talk to you soon. Bye.